Hello and welcome to English Parliamentary News. I'm Rizky Hawadi. In this edition, we will present all the latest and interesting information around the House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia. The House of Representatives demand Pertamina to immediately distribute fuel and gas better and more fairly, following the lack of gas stations available in the Central Kalimantan, which leads to the people to struggle in obtaining fuel. Speaking at the recent working visit of Commission 7 of the House to Palangkaraya, Central Kalimantan, members of Commission 7 of the House, Mukhtar Tompo, understands the difficulties Pertamina faces in seeking investors related to gas station development projects on several areas in Central Kalimantan due to the low rate of return on investment or ROE. Therefore, to overcome the fuel scarcity problems due to the inadequate number of gas stations, Mukhtar Tompo supports the breakthrough done by Pertamina and the Upstream Oil and Gas Business Activities Regulatory Agency, or BPH Migas, which plan to immediately realize the Premium Solar Oil Agent, or APMS program, in areas that cannot be reached by any gas station, considering the cost for building an APMS is relatively small compared to a new gas station, which needs about 3 billion rupiah in funding.
Nanti sistemnya terpusat di dalam suatu kabupaten, nanti kabupaten itu yang mensuplai ke beberapa kecamatan, bahkan desa. Jadi distribusinya seperti distribusi LPG 3 kg, tetapi untuk Pertamina putus di kabupatennya.
Meanwhile, the chairman of Commission 7, Gus Irawan Pasaribu, asserts that to realize an even fuel distribution, Pertamina requested to actualize the gas station development program that reached remote areas, which claimed to be finished by the end of 2019. In addition, the House of Representatives will also give additional budget, which expected to solve the subsidized gas distribution problems.
Konversi minyak tanah ke gas yang sudah berproses, tetapi masih ada tadi dipaparkan 6 kabupaten yang belum mendapatkan alokasi gas subsidi. Oleh karena itu kita berharap nanti di anggaran tahun depan itu sudah bisa kita selesaikan.
From Palangkaraya, Central Kalimantan, Nanda Oktaviani and Ferdian, TVR Parliament report. Vice Speaker of the House Fadli Zon urges the activation of Keris cultural education to raise people awareness in sustaining Keris as a cultural heritage which existence should be kept. In order to celebrate the World Keris Day, which celebrated on 19 April, Vice Speaker for Politics and Security of the House, Fadli Zon, attended the Keris exhibition and exchange events held by the Association of National Keris Indonesia or SNKI in Taman Mini Indonesia Indah, Jakarta. This exhibition is held as a form of education to appreciate Keris, especially after Keris recognized as one of the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage. Fadli Zon believed that this is the time to share the meaning and cultural values of Keris widely so that people, especially young generation, could see and understand the value of Keris as a whole.
Kita sertifikasi, misalnya keris lama, keris sepuh ya, yang memang ada eranya, Majapahit, Kediri, Jenggolo dan sebagainya, itu ada sertifikasi nanti oleh kurator. Kemudian kalau keris-keris baru juga kita kembangkan. Kreasi-kreasi baru, pamor-pamor baru dari para pengrajin empu sekarang ini, itu juga kita dorong. Nah, tinggal kita sertifikasi nantinya.
Fadli Zon adds, the introduction of Keris along with a detailed description regarding the specialty of each kind of Keris would eventually grow the people's interest to collecting Keris. As a result, the taboo image of Keris as something that should not be shared can be removed and get more attention for its cultural essence so that Keris as a part of cultural identity could unify the people.
Dan budaya Keris ini juga mempunyai satu pakem yang membuat kita mempunyai karakter gitu ya. Jadi orang dalam memegang keris, memperlihatkan keris, menunjukkan ya.
Naomi, Bani, and Ferdian, TVR Parliament report. Vice Speaker of the House demand the government to give more attention to the Muslim community welfare and reduce the unfair practice of monopoly which oftenly cause an imbalanced economy. Speaking after a public lecture in Cirebon, West Java, which discussed about building a community economy and politic strength, Vice Speaker of the House Fadli Zon stated that government should be more supportive in giving more attention to Muslim economy, so that the welfare of the Indonesian people, or in this case Muslims targeted by the government, could be achieved. Fadli asserted that Indonesian Muslim has a big economic potential, such as Umroh and Hajj funds that managed by the government which can be used to improve the welfare of Muslims in Indonesia.
Pemerintah mestinya ikut memberikan satu iklim yang kondusif bagi tumbuhnya ekonomi umat. Saya kira tidak bisa dipungkiri karena mayoritas di Indonesia negara agama Islam, mulai dari yang besar-besar seperti haji, umroh, itu kan dana umat itu sangat besar. Dan ini juga menjadi potensi yang besar juga untuk perekonomian umat, karena haji itu ada tiap tahun, umroh tiap tahun.
Furthermore, Fadli says that the government need to provide the education to the successful Muslims in order to lead the other community to improve their economical condition. Fadli also explains the main issue at the Muslim economy is the existence of monopoly practice that cause inequality to the welfare of Indonesian Muslims, where the economy in Indonesia today are mainly divided and concentrated to only several groups of people.
Di level kecil, menengah, dan juga mungkin bisa level yang besar, itu harus terus ditumbuhkan, termasuk di kota-kota besar, di daerah-daerah, ya, sehingga ini bisa membuat lapangan pekerjaan yang lebih luas, kemudian efek dominonya juga akan lebih banyak lagi bagi masyarakat yang ada di sekitarnya.
From Cirebon, West Java, Nur Fuad, Bani, and Ferdian, TVR Parliament report. Commission 11 of the House appreciates the performance of Directorate General of Custom and Excise, or Bea Cukai of Teluk Bayur, West Sumatra, that has succeeded in securing more than 4 million illegal cigarettes and hundreds of illegal cosmetic and drugs, which entered through the port of Teluk Bayur and Minangkabau International Airport. Appreciation expressed by the Vice Chairman of Commission 11 of the House, Marwan Cik Asan, after leading the working visit of Commission 11 of the House to see the process of eradicating customs confiscated goods in Teluk Bayur Port, West Sumatra. Marwan explains the overall total confiscated goods of the Office of Customs Supervision and Services that caused a loss to the nation are more than 1 billion rupiah. Marwan adds the goods eradicated are usually those that don't have legal base and production permit. Marwan calls the custom of Teluk Bayur to improve their performance in order to prevent the imposition of illegal goods from abroad. In order to prevent the imposition of illegal goods from abroad, both coming from cargo in Teluk Bayur Port or Minangkabau International Airport.
Kita mengapresiasi bahwa meskipun frekuensi atau pelayaran keluar masuknya barang di pelabuhan Teluk Bayur ini dan di Bandara Minangkabau tidak banyak, terbukti tim Bea Cukai kita kan yang ada di sini cukup efektif ya, sehingga kita tadi bisa memusnahkan barang temuan ya yang sudah disita negara senilai 1 miliar.
The same thing expressed by a member of Commission 11 of the House, Rev Rizal. He calls the custom of Teluk Bayur to enhance their supervision to prevent another smuggling case in Teluk Bayur Port. Rev Rizal said, Custom have a very important role to the country's economy as they may protect the country from loss due to the entry of illegal goods.
Kinerja dari Bea Cukai ini?
Bea Cukai kan lebih preventif, bagus ya, mencegah supaya beredar di lapangan. Di samping juga mungkin juga barangnya merusak masyarakat, juga merugikan negara kita.
From West Sumatra, Sanika Sembiring and Septia Chaniago, TVR Parliament report. Commission 11 of the House appreciates the achievement of Bali's macro development target, which recorded far above the national target. Also, the rapid development from banking sector drives Bali credit business to continue growing, which in 2016 reached up to 3.5 trillion rupiah and become one of the factors that drive its target achievements. In a working visit of Commission 11 of the House to Bali, the member of Commission 11, Johnny G. Plate, explains the economic growth was supported by various government programs, such as infrastructure development and effective poverty reduction program. Therefore, Johnny hopes that the achievement in the province of Bali could be adopted by many regions in Indonesia. Johnny also explains the cooperation between banking and business sectors has been running well, supported by a number of good regional governments applied programs.
Sektor perbankan yang mendorong kredit usaha rakyat itu cukup progresif di sini. Tahun pertama yang masih 1 triliun lebih, tahun yang kedua sudah 2,9 triliun dan tahun 2016 itu 3,5 triliun. Jadi perkembangannya sangat progresif, sangat bagus.
In line with Johnny, another member of Commission 11 of the House, Fatan also appreciates an overall picture of Bali economy since the unemployment rate is declining, accompanied by the poverty rate which is also being decreased and enlarged credit platform. This condition, according to him, shows that the Bali is still one of interesting destination.
Fungsi-fungsi mereka dalam pengembangan UKM, fungsi-fungsi intermediasi perbankan, dan fungsi-fungsi edukasi konsumen berjalan dengan baik. Dan malam hari ini kita mendapatkan gambaran yang utuh tentang perekonomian Bali yang secara umum menggembirakan, dari tingkat pengangguran yang turun, tingkat kemiskinan yang rendah.
From Bali, Yaserto Denus and Septia Chaniago, TVR Parliament report. Responding to a number of Indonesian migrant workers that still involved in illegal cases or experiencing bad treatment in foreign countries, Commission 9 of the House demands both central and local government to be more serious in dealing and solving problems that involve Indonesian migrant workers, or TKI. Speaking in a working visit to Lampung, the member of Commission 9 of the House, Marwan Dasopang, demands a better role from the head of village in supervising their villagers who will depart as migrant workers. The head of villages should know clearly regarding the details of purpose and the type of work they will be doing abroad before granting the permission to become TKI candidates.
Ya, mulai dari sejak awal pemberangkatan, mestinya di tingkat desa juga sudah terawasi dengan baik. Kepala desa tidak boleh membiarkan warganya pergi tanpa kejelasan kemana akan dikirim dan lapangan pekerjaan apa yang akan mereka kerjakan. Nah, kalau sudah jelas, baru dibolehkan. Padahal anak-anak ini sebetulnya disebutkan tidak punya skill, sebutnya berkemampuan.
On the other hand, the member of Commission 9 of the House, Betty S. Hadik Pasedigoe, assess the lack of job opportunities in home country are mainly the reason to the large number of Lampung citizens who want to be migrant workers. But unfortunately, many of them are experiencing violence and involved in legal cases abroad. Thus, Betty urges the government to be more serious in providing enough skills and knowledge for TKI candidates, such as language skills and knowledge of laws applied in their destination country.
Menangani permasalahan tenaga kerja ini betul-betul dengan serius sekali. Dalam hal utamanya adalah bagaimana harus mempersiapkan tenaga kerja ini betul-betul siap dia nantinya bekerja sehingga tidak menimbulkan permasalahan-permasalahan di luar di tempat mereka bekerja.
From Lampung, Helmi Darmawan and Septia Chaniago, TVR Parliament report. Vice Speaker of the House, Taufik Kurniawan, demands every parties to stop the stigmatization over anti-tolerance towards other parties, since it will threaten unity and the diversity of Indonesia as a nation. To the young generation of Muhammadiyah, Taufik encouraged them to be wise in dealing with anti-tolerance acts. Vice Speaker of the House Taufik Kurniawan attends a ceremony of nationality and natural disaster preparation of Young Muhammadiyah Command or Kokam in order to welcome the 85th anniversary of Muhammadiyah Youth held in the sport facility of PT Petrokimia Gresik, East Java recently. Taufik Kurniawan says, the Young Muhammadiyah Command has an important role in preserving the nationality with three main duties or trilogy, which are equity, nationality, and humanity. Therefore, every Kokam member is required to understand their duty, so that they don't lose their purpose while in movement. Related to the issue of anti-tolerance that's been shattering the unity and diversity of Indonesian people recently, Taufik Kurniawan emphasizes Muhammadiyah should stay consistent in preserving tolerance among Indonesian people. Taufik also demands all parties, especially Kokam, to wisely respond to the case of anti-tolerance.
Ini setiap pergerakan kebangsaan kita, Muhammadiyah selalu ikut partisipasi aktif. Sejak dari Bung Karno yang tokoh Muhammadiyah ya, tadi, Kokam lahir di era pemberantasan komunisme sampai reformasi, dan tentunya itu menjadi salah satu penyemangat bukti Muhammadiyah tetap konsisten terhadap toleransi bangsa ini.
The chairman of Muhammadiyah Youth as well as the commander-in-chief of Kokam, Dhanil Anzar Simanjuntak assert, for Muhammadiyah, the unity of Republic of Indonesia and Pancasila are mutual agreement of Indonesian people. Therefore, they should be preserved together. He further demands all the parties to stop the stigmatization of anti-tolerance in Indonesia.
NKRI dan Pancasila itu sudah final. Bagi Muhammadiyah pun demikian. Bagi Muhammadiyah, NKRI dan Pancasila itu ada, khususnya Pancasila, itu adalah Darul Ahdi wa Syahadah. Artinya Pancasila itu adalah kesepakatan bersama kita sebagai bangsa. Orang Indonesia itu genetikanya toleran. Kalau kemudian sekarang banyak tuduhan bahwasannya umat Islam khususnya ini adalah banyak yang radikalis, banyak yang anti toleransi. Saya pikir itu stigma yang sangat berbahaya.
From East Java, Kristio Handoko and Septia Caniago, TVR Parliament Report. And that rounds up this edition of English Parliamentary News. On behalf of all the crew of TVR Parliament, we would like to thank you for your attention. We will meet again in the next edition of English Parliamentary News. From me, Rizky Hawadi, once again, thanks for watching and goodbye.